At the bottom of the deepest ocean on Earth, far below where sunlight could ever reach, there was a place called the Black Abyss. The water there looked almost black. The silence was so heavy that sailors used to say you could hear your own heartbeat echo in the dark. But the darkness was not the most terrifying thing in the Black Abyss. Something lived there. A monster known as Abyssor. Abyssor was enormous, larger than any whale. Its skin was as hard as stone, and its mouth stretched open like a massive cave filled with spear-long teeth. But the most horrifying thing about Abyssor was its face. It had no eyes. Instead, hundreds of tiny glowing dots surrounded its head, and those dots moved. They were eyes, hundreds of them. Abyssor slept most of the time in the deepest trenches of the ocean, but whenever it woke, the entire sea trembled. Fish fled, giant squids vanished into the darkness, and even the oldest sea creatures hid. One night, a deep vibration spread through the ocean floor. Groom. Sand lifted into the water. Ancient shipwrecks creaked and shifted. Abyssor was waking, its enormous jaw slowly opened, but something else was already moving through the darkness. Long, drifting hair, a pale face, and two glowing red eyes. It was a mermaid, but she looked nothing like the beautiful mermaids in human stories. Her name was Morya. Her hair floated like tangled seaweed. Her teeth were thin and sharp. The scales of her tail shimmered like black blades in the dark water. But the most unsettling thing about Morya was her smile, because when she smiled, her mouth opened far wider than it should. Morya was the ancient guardian of the ocean, and every time Abyssor awakened, she was the one who had to put it back to sleep. Morya glided silently through the water. Abyssor's hundreds of eyes suddenly turned toward her. The water grew icy cold. The monster spoke in a deep rumble. "You again," Morya answered with a whisper. "Yes, me again." Suddenly, Abyssor lunged forward. Its massive jaws snapped shut like a collapsing cave. Water exploded around them. But Morya was impossibly fast. She slipped through the darkness like a shadow. In her hand, she held a long spear made from ancient bone. With a swift movement, she drove it into the monster's thick neck. Roar! The ocean floor shook. Sandstorms rose into the water, but then something strange happened. Abyssor's hundreds of eyes stared at Morya very closely, and the monster whispered, "Why are you so terrifying?" Morya slowly smiled. Her teeth gleamed in the darkness. "Because," she said softly, "the only thing that can scare you is me." Then Morya screamed, but it was not a scream. It sounded like the oldest sound in the ocean. The entire sea trembled. Fish fled. Ancient creatures hid. One by one, Abyssor's glowing eyes slowly closed. The giant monster sank back into a deep sleep. Morya drifted silently into the darkness once more. Yet even after she disappeared, no sea creature dared swim near her path, because every creature in the ocean knew the truth. Abyssor was the most terrifying monster in the sea, but there was someone even more frightening. The mermaid of the Black Abyss